What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We're back here once again. You already know what it is. We would be saying that it's just another Victory Monday, but it is not a Victory Monday because we had our Victory Friday already. So, yes, we did win this week. No, we didn't win yesterday because we didn't play yesterday, but you know what it is. When you see me in front of your TV, one thing is for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. Want to make sure we keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, how, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? It's a very simple process. I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Smash the like button, subscribe, and share with your peoples. And once you've shared this with your mothers, your brothers, your uncles, your sisters, your cousins, your fathers, your sisters, you name it. You name it. You have indeed cared about those people because sharing is caring. And you've also kept your Lions news pragmatic. We got some things that we got to get into today, man. We got to talk about comparisons. We got to talk about comparisons because comparisons are the thief of joy. And of course, this is the week where we will be comparing Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. Belinda Brown, what up, though? Yep, we're going to get into that too. DeMonte KZ. We're going to be comparing Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. But the thing that got me thinking about this topic of the day is I saw something one Sunday morning. There were some people, very respected people, in the Detroit media space. Very respected people. And I mean, these are some old heads. I'm talking about these people were covering the Detroit Lions when Barry Sanders was playing football for the Detroit Lions. And the conversation took a crazy turn. The conversation was that Jahmyr Gibbs will be better than one Barry Sanders. That's why we say that comparison is the thief of joy. Because when you have to start comparing people, it's like you're tearing them down. Both of them are great. Jahmyr Gibbs has had a 3-year NFL career. Barry Sanders had a 10-year NFL career. Jahmyr Gibbs is still going. Barry Sanders retired 26 years ago. Okay? Barry Sanders retired 26 years ago. The man has not played football in 26 years. When he retired, he was second all time, all the time in rushing yards. Some people said he retired because he didn't want to break Walter Payton's record because he had too much respect for the man. Barry Sanders was second all time in rushing yards when he retired, and he was first all time in negative yards. He had over 1,000 negative yards, and he was very close to Walter Payton's record. Imagine if he didn't even have those 1,000 negative yards. And why did he have so many negative yards? Because Barry Sanders had the unique ability to run around and come out of the pile 70 yards down the field. That's why he did that. What up, though, Brent DeWitt? And who do we have here? We have Brandon Martin. What up, though? All right. So, look, man, I know we got a lot because we do the sports. This is sports media, whether you like it or not. A podcast that talks about sports is sports media. It has the ability to reach thousands of people. It has the ability to reach millions of people. With just one YouTube short, you can get your opinion out there, and it can reach millions of people, millions of eyes. and they're not even your subscribers. Okay, so this is sports media to some degree. Here's what's missing, because we're gonna get into the Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford thing in a second here as well. Here's what's missing from these debates: nuance. And you would think that someone who is that old is going to give you the nuance and not just tell you things like trying to be a hot take artist or whatever it was. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be better than Barry Sanders. I would love for that to be true, because I love me some Jahmyr Gibbs, and I will not allow this conversation to be one of those comparisons being the thief of joy type of situations, because it really does both players a disservice. And I will not do either one of those men a disservice. I call Barry Sanders my football father. I might as well call Jahmyr Gibbs my football son. You understand what I'm saying? 3 generations of we got Sanders, Peterson, and we got Sanders Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? It's 3 generations. We all just cut from the same cloth. All right. 2 of those guys played in the NFL. I did not. The nuance is, okay, all right, Jahmyr Gibbs is he's going to break, hopefully, without any wild and craziness. He's going to break Barry Sanders' record. He's tied it already for the most touchdowns before the age of 24. For the most touchdowns from scrimmage. Another thing this guy said, he thinks that he's going to knock Barry Sanders' touchdown total out of the water, because whenever they got to the goal line, the Lions used to take Barry Sanders out. Okay, well, again, that's the nuance I'm talking about. Where Jamal Williams broke a Barry Sanders record before. Nuance. He was a goal line merchant. They just gave him the football at the goal line and said, here, go, take this 1-yard touchdown. And he did it like 18 times. So therefore, Jamal Williams' name is in the record books as the most rushing touchdowns in a season in Lions history. Does that mean that Jamal Williams is better than Barry Sanders? Does that mean that Jamal Williams can be mentioned in the same breath as Barry Sanders? I would say no. Not the same breath at all. It's not possible. Nuance. Barry Sanders is not from the planet Earth. There were things that Barry Sanders could do with his body that you will never see another person do. He split his top and bottom half in 2 when John Lynch came and tried to tackle him. John Lynch stood there, frozen, probably peed on himself a little bit, trying to decide what he was going to do. Should I take Barry's top half or his bottom half? Because they're not going in the same direction. His top half was going left, his bottom half was going right. That's not some human stuff. Numbers are great. Jahmyr Gibbs is super fast. Jahmyr Gibbs is shifty. Jahmyr Gibbs is elusive. Jahmyr Gibbs has a collection of ankles himself. He will take ankles, break them, and put them in his trophy case, mostly from the Minnesota Vikings. But we saw him doing it against the Dallas Cowboys. Barry Sanders has the most ankles of all time. There is no, like, Barry Sanders took ankles, knees, he took ACLs. Just ask Rod Woodson. Okay? So Barry Sanders has all of that stuff. Barry is the greatest of all time, not just because of numbers, not because of rushing totals, not because of touchdown totals, because the man did things that you never saw a human being do before, and you haven't seen it since. Look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was doing things that you've never seen a human being do, but you've seen it since. Barry Sanders was doing things you never saw a human being do, but you haven't seen it since. Okay. So I'll rest my case on that. Jahmyr Gibbs, awesome, phenomenal. My second favorite running back in the history of the Detroit Lions. Right? Then that would make him my third favorite running back ever because my second favorite running back of all time is Bo Jackson. Okay. So let's cut. Look, the Detroit Lions, and this is going to bleed into the next part. The Detroit Lions fans have a problem. I don't know if it's stirred on by the younger fans who didn't necessarily see Barry play. If you didn't see Megatron play, you real young. You real young. You super duper young. Okay? But every time we get a good player at the position, the first thing that we want to do, they haven't proven anything. And I'll prove it to you right now. They've proven nothing. They've done nothing really in the league. The first thing that we want to do is say, oh, that running back is like Barry. Right? But at large, as sports fans, we want to do that because everybody was trying to find the next Jordan. It's like we don't appreciate the fact that what we saw was like a once in a 5 generation thing or once in a lifetime thing. Like it did, it's not, it's greatness to a different level. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, but Tom Brady is not going to wow you with his physical skills. So if you say someone is the next Tom Brady, all that person has to do is be insatiable. They have to have that intention to detail. They have to have that drive, that killer instinct, whatever. And then maybe they can reach a Tom Brady. The conversation up until recently was that Patrick Mahomes was going to be the guy. And he's had a couple down seasons, and we'll see what happens if he bounces back. He may not even make the playoffs this year. But Patrick Mahomes came with the razzle dazzle that Tom Brady didn't come with. Right? Tom Brady knows football better than probably, I don't know, if you wanted to name a coach who you thought knew football better than Tom Brady, you could try. Right? Tom Brady was the system. The Patriot way was Tom Brady. It wasn't do your damn job because everybody says that. Everybody says do your damn job. Patriot way was Tom Brady. Right? So he has special traits. Hunger, desire, intangibles, all these things, right? When you look at the tangibles of a Barry Sanders or Michael Jordan, other people just don't have those things. Michael Jordan, yes, because athletes have become what Michael Jordan was back in the day. They've become bigger, they've become stronger, they've become faster. They can fly higher, right? You never seen anybody become what Barry was. Just haven't seen it, and I don't know that you will. Not even his sons who shared DNA with him had any ability to do what he did. Barry Sanders is a once in a lifetime person. You probably will never see another one. Okay. So, Calvin Johnson. Oh, Isaac Tesla, Vanillatron, Mailtron, Tron. For what? My man has 10 targets on the year. For what? What are we doing? Why? Because he's 6'4"? Calvin Johnson was 6'4", 235, or 6'5", 235, and ran a 4.3 40. And would moss you with ease multiple times. Went up over 3 people. Like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Is Isaac Tesla going to be this? Is Isaac Tesla going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Why are we so hungry? Why are we so hungry? Is it just that you didn't see it? Because I saw Barry. I saw Barry in person. A lot of you people saw Barry in person. Is it just that you didn't see it? Are you one of those people? I didn't see it, so now I have to replace him with somebody else. Now I can see Jameer. Jameer's now. Jameer's phenomenal. It's not Barry. And that's not a slight, that's not a shot at Jameer, because no running back in the history of the NFL that came before Barry Sanders or that came after Barry Sanders has been Barry Sanders. And this is why, like, it annoys me. And you, like, brother, no. You might see a trait here and there, but the whole package of Barry Sanders, no. No, not in a million years. Why do we do this? Stop. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jahmyr Gibbs, the electrician, all the things, bro. I have so much fun talking about Ja. I have so much fun watching Ja, celebrating with Ja, celebrating Ja. I don't ever want him to go anywhere. I want him to be a Lion for life. He's not Barry Sanders. And it's okay. He's not supposed to be Barry Sanders. Because there's only one Barry Sanders. There's only one running back who runs the football like Barry Sanders. That's Barry Sanders. You cannot ever tell me that you've ever seen another running back do the things that Barry Sanders did routinely. You can't. You can try. You can say, "Oh, well, Reggie Bush." Yeah, Reggie Bush had some trait. Bro, you need Brett. Listen, y'all remember Voltron? Okay, Barry Sanders is already Voltron. He is. You got to take. You can take some Reggie Bush. You can take some LaDainian Tomlinson. You can take some Jahmyr Gibbs. You can take some Christian McCaffrey. You can take this and you put them all together and make Barry Sanders. There's not one running back that is Barry Sanders. There's not one running back that equals Barry Sanders. Let me get to your comments, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do our comparison of Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. Peyton's record, not Emmett's. No, it was Peyton's record when Barry retired. So no. What up, though? Appreciate you, Mr. Detroit City. What up, though, Will Murray? You think, oh Lord have mercy. Here we go with this. Would realize just how good Herman Moore at Big Blade Detroit was. I'd take Herm over Calvin any day, even right now in retirement. He doesn't have the shot to be Barry. He has some shot to beat records. That's fine, but to be Barry, like, y'all gotta remember who Barry was. After this show, go back and watch Barry, because y'all, like, it's anyone that is comparing Jahmyr Gibbs to Barry Sanders doesn't know Barry Sanders. I'm sorry. We never saw it and haven't seen it since. It's just not there. Barry was more elusive. Gibbs obviously is faster, for sure. Barry's balance and Smith is unmatched, and strength is unmatched, for sure. Y'all remember I would compare Ja to Falk. See, there you go. Like, see, you have to compare Jahmyr Gibbs to another human. Barry Sanders is an alien. You know what I'm saying? He's an alien. Gibbs has already been on a better team than Barry ever got to do. Facts. All right. Yeah, do y'all remember Coach Jeff Fisher, who was a phenomenally bad head coach? He even couldn't make it in the UFL. Okay. Do y'all remember that he was like the defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams? And were they the Los Angeles Rams? Yeah, they were the Los Angeles Rams at the time. And he released live chickens in practice to simulate the movements of Barry Sanders. Okay, if you don't know this story, it is a real story. It is a real thing that he actually did. He released live chickens in practice to prepare, for Barry Sanders. There has never been another coach in the history of coachdom that has ever released live chickens, because there's never been a player in the history of playerdom that you had to simulate their movements with chickens. It just, and that's the thing. Once someone says, hey, we got to release chickens to try to catch Jahmyr Gibbs. No, bruh, no. And you know why? You know why Ja doesn't have that level of elusiveness? Because after he breaks your ankles, he is off to the races. He doesn't need to completely contort your body on the field to get around you. Barry Sanders was fast, but he's not Ja Rule. Where is Ja? Somebody find Ja Rule so we can make sense of all of this. Barry is fast, but he was not Ja fast. So, chickens. That's the start of your argument. If you got chickens for me, I will listen to your argument. If you don't have any chickens, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. If you don't have chickens in your repertoire, I don't want to hear your arguments. I'm sorry. So let's start with chickens. Who you got chickens for? You got chickens for any other running back? Give me chickens. Where are the chickens at? Let me see the chickens. Put them out on the table. Where your chickens at? All right. Day after games at the Silverdome, couldn't talk from screaming Barry. See, there you go. Barry had the best -1 yards ever. Facts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Barry Sanders had people spectating on the field. Sometimes his blockers couldn't block because they was busy. Go ask Lomas Brown. Busy watching Barry. You know what I'm saying? I got a front row seat. Ain't you supposed to be blocking somebody? Oh, snap. You're right. Let me find somebody. Come on, dog. Barry just, that's it, bro. Barry's Barry. Gibbs will want to ring something Barry couldn't, despite how great people say he was. I don't know, Mr. Detroit City. I don't know what your problem is. I don't. But you got to let that go. Okay? You got to let that go. Barry was something you've never seen before and you'll never see again. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's me, Chef, but I see a lot of Lions fans underestimating the Rams defense. Oh, we're going to talk about it. But we got all week. We got all week. If you're underestimating the Rams defense, stop. Okay? Just stop. Don't do that. Because that's going to get you beat. For being a superhuman, he sure didn't win one, so I don't think he's so much better than others who have done the same job. Barry Sanders is a running back. He has much less to do with winning the championship than the quarterback, because the quarterback must touch the ball every single snap. Barry Sanders never had a good quarterback. Who did he have? Who was his best quarterback? Rodney Peete. Okay. Right now, a lot of people say that Barry Sanders' O-line was trash and all these other things. That's a bit of a narrative. Barry Sanders had good O-linemen. Okay, he had some Hall of Famers in there. All right. One of the things that was the reason that he retired is because they got rid of those Hall of Famers. They got rid of Kevin Glover. They were lowballing people. He was out. They brought in Bobby Ross, who wanted to give him a fullback. They didn't capitalize on Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders did more to put a team on his back by himself than any other running back in the history of the league. I'm sorry. If there ain't a chicken, if there ain't a chicken to be found in your argument, I don't want to hear. If Gibbs cries like a 57-year-old baby crying about the team owes me, poor me, I'll boo him too. Who said that the team owes him? Nobody said the team owes him. I don't know. Look, I don't know. Maybe Barry pissed in your Cheerios one time. You know what I'm saying? But this Barry slander's got to stop. Was Scott Mitchell the best? Was he really? Because Scott Mitchell had 0 playoff success. You're hurt. I understand. You're hurt. I got it. Rodney Peete. Oh yeah, the guy that's smiled after throwing an interception. I mean, we had Rodney Peete, we had Gary Danielson, Scott Mitchell. The list goes on. I was at the game when Barry broke 2,000 yards. They made the playoffs in '97, and nobody cared. We wanted 2,000 for Barry. Facts. You know, those are the facts. All right. So as y'all get into this Barry Sanders thing a little bit more, I'm gonna move the comparison talk. Andre Ware, yeah, okay. Oh boy, Andre Ware. Listen, I'm gonna start this off by saying to you, I'm gonna put this up. Do you see what Mr. Detroit City is saying about Barry Sanders? Because I say the same thing about Matthew Stafford. But I give Matthew Stafford more responsibility in this situation because I think Matthew Stafford directly contributed to a lot of those losses. Okay? He directly contributed to a lot of those losses by throwing pick sixes, by getting strip sacked, so on and so forth. Y'all know how I feel about Matthew Stafford. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of his. Okay? He never won anything in my city. I don't care if he left and won a Super Bowl. He never won anything for the Detroit Lions, which is the team that I root for and I have always rooted for. So he wasn't part of the solution for me. He was a big part of the problem why we were called the Cardiac Cats. He was a big part of the reason that we had to go for all those fourth quarter game-winning drives that we attempted. A lot of them we got, some of them we got, a lot of them we didn't get. Some of them, after already throwing pick sixes during the game earlier, he would throw a pick six on the game-winning drive. He looked a lot like that old Matthew Stafford last week against the Carolina Panthers. Okay? I have to preface that. And I have to say all those things. Why? Because if we're talking about the talent, the arm talent, being able to make all of the throws, pocket presence, we have to give those things to Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff. And it's okay. It's okay. A lot of people say, oh, well, if you put Matthew Stafford on this team now that Jared Goff has, do you think Matthew Stafford will win a Super Bowl? And my question would be, can you bring Sean McVay with him? Can you bring Sean McVay with him? Why do I say that? Jim Caldwell, who most people liked and most people respected and all these things. Jim Caldwell came here and took over as head coach of the Detroit Lions, and he felt that the best way forward that the best way to win was to take the ball out of Matthew Stafford's hands, because Matthew Stafford was a gunslinger who would put the ball in harm's way. He's a lot like Jordan Love. He would put the ball in harm's way with no regard for that football, and he would throw a lot of interceptions. Matthew Stafford was not a winner. I tell you this all the time. His record against winning teams in Detroit was something like 9-71. It was crazy. Winning teams means over 500. So you could be one game over 500. If it was week 3, if it was week 4 and you were 2-1, chances are you were beating the Detroit Lions. If it was week 2 and you were 1-0, chances are you were beating the Detroit Lions. That was the tenure of Matthew Stafford. So few and far between. I don't even think you can say few and far between. I mean, it's definitely the definition of few and far between. 9 wins against 71 losses in 12 years against winning teams that had the criteria for being a winning team is you are one game over 500. If you came in week number 3 and you were 1-1, there was a chance that we would beat you. But as I said, if we played you week 4 and you were 2-1, chances were you were beating the Detroit Lions. And I said 9-71. It could actually be worse. The 70 part could be worse, but I know the wins were 9. It was single digits. Okay, if y'all have the stat up, you can put it in the chat so that I will be there exactly. Okay. But we have to go into nuance. Can Matthew Stafford make more throws than Jared Goff? Yes. Would Matthew Stafford unlock Jameson Williams so you could actually throw him deep balls consistently? Like when he was at Alabama? Yes. But here's the thing. If Jameson Williams had Matthew Stafford, do we know that Jameson Williams would have developed any other part of his route tree other than the go route? Other than the 9 ball? I don't know. I can't say that. But some of these other people that we have would probably be more unlocked. Khalif Raymond, you could send him downfield. Isaac Tesla, you could send him on jump balls, 50-50 balls, to see if he can go up and get it. Would that make it a better team? You would think so. You would think so, but I have to point back to 2014-15 when Matthew Stafford had weapons. He had a running game, he had receivers, and he had a top 5 defense. Truly top 5 with Sue and Fairley and them boys. And with that team, he could not win you a division, and he could not win you a playoff game. We got to the playoffs, but we did not win the NFC North. And we had to go on the road and play the Dallas Cowboys. And Matthew Stafford fumbled the football after throwing a pick on the same drive. If you don't remember how that happened, how was it the same drive? Well, Matthew Stafford, in the last gasp, in the last ditch effort to win that football game, a game which we were leading for most of the game. In his last gasp attempt to win the football game, he threw an interception like he had done so many times before. Well, what happened after they threw the interception? There was a fumble during the return, and the Lions recovered it. So we had a fresh set of downs, and on 4th down, Matthew Stafford got strip sacked, and the game was over. So this is why I ask you, when you talk about Matthew Stafford being on this team up to this point, would he win? Would he have won a Super Bowl? And I say, can you bring Sean McVay with him? Because Sean McVay is the key to Matthew Stafford's resurgence. Sean McVay taught him like apparently no other coach could teach him that throwing pick sixes is bad. Sean McVay taught him like apparently no other coach could teach him that throwing the football to the other team is bad. We don't like to do that. All of a sudden, the pick machine gunslinger was no longer the pick machine gunslinger when he went to LA. But were Jaquiski Tartt able to catch, we might not be having this conversation. So the competition between Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, if we look on the surface, Jared Goff has had coaches that have helped him. Matthew Stafford has had a coach that has helped him. Is Matthew Stafford a better quarterback? Physically, yes. Mentally, and here's the thing, because before Jared Goff got to Detroit, and even some in Detroit, Jared Goff had a turnover problem too. As both of them have gotten older in their careers, they have largely cut down on those turnovers. Jared Goff still puts the ball in harm's way and has a Jared Goof game every season. But for this team right now, is Jared Goff the right quarterback? Well, Jared Goff won you some playoff games and he got you to an NFC Championship game. Something Matthew Stafford could never do. And everybody wants to talk about the team. Oh, Matthew Stafford never had a team around him. He did in 2014-15. He didn't win you a division. He didn't win you a playoff game. As soon as Jared Goff got this team, not only did we win the division, not only did we win playoff games, we went to the NFC Championship game. So my question to you guys is Matthew Stafford simply a Sean McVay merchant? That's my question. All right, I'm going to get to y'all comments. Andre Ware. What I say about Barry is he acted like a grown child the past 15 years claiming money. Okay. Okay, but we're not talking about the person. We're not talking about how good they are in the community. We talking about the player. That's what we get. We got to be able to compartmentalize these arguments. We're talking about the player. If you don't care for him as a person, that's fine. The player is who I started talking about. You got into the personal feelings. I'm not getting into the personal feelings. Right? Just like Matthew Stafford. I didn't get into the whole Kelly Stafford and all this other and all the stuff he said and she said. And I didn't get into any of that. I was talking about the facts of the player. The player on the football field. Whatever you do outside of football and off the field, as long as you ain't killing nobody, I don't care. As long as you're not a criminal and you're out here committing crimes against other people, I do not care. What's up, though, Zach J? Jim Brown was playing against plumbers, morticians, and school teachers. Come on now. Come on. They weren't even professional football players. They were like, they would go to a game, play in the game, and then they would go to their sales job as freaking vacuum salesmen. Come on. I get it, but that wasn't an era of football where you could say everyone was on a somewhat level playing field. Matthew Stafford was 8-68. Okay. So I was off by 1 for the wins and 2 for the losses. Okay. 8-68 against winning teams as a Lion and never won more than 1 game against them in a season. Ish. Ish. So that means in 4 of those seasons, he didn't win any game against those teams. That's crazy. Stafford had the tendency to throw the ball way too hard for the short routes, right? 8-68. Okay. Y'all got it. All right. Who's this? Tyrone C46. Just make sure you don't boo Stafford's kids this time because we were booing his kids apparently. Don't want Kelly to cry again. I'm riding with Jared Goff. Okay. All right. We got you. I don't know what McVay's done, but don't the Rams have some kids making tackles all over the field? Yep. We're gonna get to their defense a little bit later in the week. We definitely gonna do that. Yes, but an arrogant person such as Barry carries their arrogance with them wherever they go, Don. I don't hear a ton of Lions ranting and raving how great of a leader Barry was, etc. Never, not once. Again, I'm not here to defend the man. Okay. Arrogance is never something I've ever heard about Barry Sanders, but hey, I'm not we talking about the player. I'm not getting into the personal. I'm just not. That's not what we're doing today. All righty. The one thing I wonder if it would have worked was Stafford with Osama bin Johnson. So, see, that's a good argument. That's a good argument. With this staff, see what I did there? With this staff have been able to fix Stafford. If you fixed Goff, I think you could fix Stafford. Okay, now here's the other question that you have to ask. If Stafford elected to stay, how many of these players do we have? Do we have Amon-Ra St. Brown? Do we have JMO? Do we have Hutch? Do we have Penei Sewell? How many of these people? I think Penei Sewell was Brad's first draft pick, right? And then the next year it was Hutch and JMO. Okay. So granted, because the team sucked already and we were picking high anyway, you're going to get Penei Sewell. You don't have any skill players left. So let's say, so you're going to get Penei Sewell and you're going to get Amon-Ra. You're going to get Hutch. So what do you do after that? It's a fair debate. It is. But that's what I'm saying. So we got to add this to it. What kind of team do you have at this staff's disposal? Yep, you got Sewell and St. Brown. And then let's say Let's say that's not enough and you suck again and you get Hutch. That's it. That's it. So now, how quickly does Brad go into his situation with project picks in the third round or using third round picks for projects? I don't know. So that's draft number 3. We can't do that because we don't even know who's in draft number 2. Because we're going out on a limb and saying, okay, all they have as far as weapons is St. Brown. They got St. Brown, they got Khalif Raymond. That's not really a good and you got DJ Chark and you got all these guys, right? So again, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's say we suck again and we get Hutch. The reason that we had the pick to trade back up with J-Mo is because the Rams gave it to us. So do we have J-Mo? We got Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Hutch. What else? Because then you go into draft number 3. That's when you get Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch. We could have still had Kirby because Kirby was a third round draft pick. So we could have still had him. That's the big question. Right. That's the 9 and 8 draft. That's draft number 3, right? Because draft number 1 was when they first came in. Draft number 2 got you Hutch. When we got Hutch's rookie season, it got you Hutch and J-Mo. When we got him, that's when we went 9 and 8. The next year was Jack, Laporta, and Branch, and Broderick Martin, and Kobe Sorsdahl. everybody outside of and was that the Hendon Hooker draft? Nah, I think Hendon Hooker was before. Was the draft before? Because I think after the 9 and 8 season is I think Hendon Hooker was in the Hutch draft. I could be wrong because I think after the 9 and 8 season is when we extended Goff. Hooker was right after Broderick. Yeah, so yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean it's an interesting debate because you have to go back into history and all this other stuff. And then you have to kind of reconstruct the roster because sure, if everything stays the same, but you just drop in Jared Goff, you send him back to the Rams and you put Matthew Stafford on this team with Osama bin Johnson and all those guys, what could have been? And I'm pretty sure that if you did it that way, but here's the thing though. If you do it that way and you go to the NFC Championship game, Goff wasn't the reason you lost the NFC Championship game. So what are you going to say? Stafford would have willed us to more points with his arm? Stafford wouldn't have thrown one of those bullets in there, and Josh Reynolds would have caught it because it was a bullet, but he couldn't catch a much softer Jared Goff pass. I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm not sure that even if you did the same thing now this year, where we've had the offensive woes and all those things, and we've had no protection up front. And you've seen Stafford when he came to Detroit last time and he was getting the ball out in 2 seconds and nullifying the rush because that was the game plan. Maybe he's more adept at running that game plan, and instead of sitting at 8-5, we're sitting at 10-3. It's possible. It's possible, but it's an interesting argument. Okay. All right. Whew. All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to kind of get out of here on the at the 15 mark, what the 8:15 mark, or we would have paid Hawk at that point. Hawk never did it for me, you know. You know. Okay, well, whatever. All right. Anyway, they just took that trip, so I'm good. I forgot about it. Um, we would have paid Hawk if Stafford stayed. I mean, like I said, I never was a hot guy. Really, he fell down too much. Brad Holmes would have just traded up for everyone. They'd all be here. LMAO. I don't know. Matthew Stafford couldn't win with a bad defense and bad O-line in 12 years with the Lions. Why would he do it now? What do you mean? What about 14 and 15? Why did everyone want to discount? I don't know if you're a Stafford fan or not, but that's the thing. Like the Stafford fans always discount the fact that you had a top 5 defense and you had weapons all over the place, and you still couldn't win a division or a playoff game. The point about now is it's about the staff. As I said, if it was Sean McVay, if Sean McVay really was the difference in Matthew Stafford's career, then what about Dan Campbell and Osama bin Johnson? You know, we see what Osama's over there doing for Caleb. Now, Caleb is still, Caleb's still Caleb. But he's not even nearly the most sacked quarterback in the league like he was the most sacked quarterback in the league last year. So he's done something different to change something in him. Pause. You know. Great receiving tight end, but can't block for ish. Yeah, it's like, if you had to replace Goff with another QB, who's your top 3? I got Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes. I would say Lamar, Allen. I would definitely say Mahomes. That's my top 3. Would I love? I can't even say Burrow because he's from that place. He's from that place. I can't, you know. There's gonna be a nice edge there this year, and Brad Holmes about to be like, nah, we're gonna trade back. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. If he deals in some shenanigans this draft, I'm gonna be pissed off. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. I'm gonna crash out. AFC QBs. Yeah, who in the NFC are you replacing Goff with? Jordan Love? No. Allen, Herbert, Burrow, and Mahomes for me. You see, you only get here's the thing. And I've been saying this about Herbert. Herbert is Matthew Stafford in Detroit. Until he wins something, he's got all this talent, all this arm talent. He can run, he's big, he's like, he don't win. Really, like, literally does not win. It doesn't affect winning. They had a 28-point lead going into halftime against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence at all, and could not muster 3 points in the second half. I don't care if you're not the defense, that's fine. But as the quarterback, you should be able to put up 3 points. You should be able to get your team in the position to put up 3 points. Just 3 in the second half. That's all you needed was 3. Couldn't do that. So until Justin Herbert wins something significant, he's Matthew Stafford in Detroit. You low-key wanted Daniel. I did not want Daniel Jones instead of Goff. I don't think anybody wanted Daniel Jones instead of anybody other than Daniel Jones instead of Anthony Richardson. You're right. He had better teams than the 2025 team except the run game. Shoot, our 2025 run game ain't been that great. It hasn't. I'm just saying, we got Ja. Ja been doing his thing. Sometimes not even in the run game. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl. But here's my question to you. If you put Jalen Hurts on the Lions as currently constructed, do the Detroit Lions win a Super Bowl? Because we're not built for the tush push and all this other stuff. Does Jalen Hurts get you a Super Bowl in Detroit? I would say no. You told me at Thanksgiving in front of your girl. Not at all. Not at all. Saquon and the defense won the Super Bowl. Is Phillip Rivers working out for the Colts? Fake? No, it's real. I saw it on the score. But it's possible, but I don't think I don't look at Jordan Love as somebody that pushes you over the top. If you're going to tell me that Jared Goff is the reason that you're not winning a Super Bowl, who do you want to replace him with? I'm going to replace him with someone who I think could be a difference maker. Josh Allen would be a difference maker. Lamar Jackson would be a difference maker. Joe Burrow would be a difference maker. Herbert would not. And I don't think Jalen Hurts would be either. Jalen Hurts is in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. You know? If I said, and I know you're trolling, but here's the thing. If I said anything about Danny Dimes this season, wouldn't nobody look at me like I was crazy? Because he was balling this season until he tore his Achilles. If I said something like that last year, then people would look at me like I'm crazy. This season, no. All right, you know what time it is. Mailbag, mailbag. What you want to do? What you want to do when they reading you? Mailbag, mailbag. See next mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. Go ahead, get those in. Mailbag. What about Baker? See, this is the wrong time to ask about Baker because they sucking too. They just lost. Look, they just lost to Tyler Shough. Okay, Tyler Shough, who was the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL Combine. Y'all just lost to him. So I don't know about Baker, bro. Before this season, I would have said, yeah, it's a possibility, right? Because I gave Baker his props and his flowers and all that stuff. But now, I don't know about all that, bro. I don't know about all that. Save 20 million there. If you save 20 million, you could go ahead and get you somebody else. Mailbag. I get the impression that a lot of Lions fans have already chalked Sunday up as a loss, probably because Matt Stafford is the Rams QB. What do you think of this kid, Kyren Williams? I don't think too much of him. He cost him a lot of games with his fumbles. He's, but he's J-Mo's cousin. You know what I'm saying? But he's decent, but he fumbles too much for me. You can't trust him. You don't know when he's going to drop the football. He could be on the goal line going in, and he's going to fumble. So yeah, can't trust a running back who can't hold on to the football. Baker's weapons are gone. That is true, but Tyler Shough should not be in the NFL. So I'm just saying, you shouldn't lose to him ever. I understand it's in your division. We lost to the Vikings. I get it, but Tyler Shough is terrible. He's worse than JJ McCarthy. Mailbag, do you know what the Lions need to make the playoffs? Do we want the Bears to win or Packers to win? So the Packers have to win. Let's look this up right quick because I haven't done this. I was intending to do this. So it's current NFC. All right. Here we go. NFC playoff picture. Right now, the Rams are the 1 seed, the Packers are the 2 seed, the Eagles are the 3, Bucks are the 4, the Seahawks are the 5, 76ers are the 6, and the Bears are the 7. So we want the Bears to continue losing because the Lions are the 8th seed. All right. The Lions are the 8th, Panthers are the 9th, Cowboys are the 10th, and the Vikings are the 11th. Eliminated Falcons, Cardinals, Saints, Commanders, Giants. All those teams have been eliminated. So we're in the hunt. So the wild card teams are the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Bears. So if the Bears lose and we win, then we get the final wild card spot. And like the Bears have to play the 49ers. I think the 49ers might have to play the Seahawks again. Then the Bears, of course, have to play the Packers one more time. Yeah. So we need the Packers to win the next time they play. Mailbag, there's plenty of chatter about how the Lions haven't lost back-to-back games in forever. When was the last time they won back-to-back games versus NFC opponents by scoring 30? I think sometime last year, because it ain't been too much of that this year. Mailbag, who are we cutting next season as cap casualties? It's hard to believe that they're gonna cut anyone as a cap casualty when the cap is not real, and it's just Sheila ponying up the money. That's all. Um, let's see. Who could we cut? Colby Sorsdale. Yeah, let's let's cut Colby Sorsdale as the cap casualty. Um, Mailbag Mike LaFleur is the Rams OC. Other than the fact that he's Matt LaFleur's bro, how has his play calling elevated Matt Stafford's game this season? I don't know that his play calling has elevated Matt Stafford's game. I feel like it's all Sean McVay. Like Sean McVay made him. You know, that's what I'm gonna say. Need to hit Stafford early and often early. To give him happy feet. He seems to throw more picks under that scenario. You definitely need more pressure. Um, I'm a golf guy, but it's a fun conversation. You know why it's a so I think I try to make it a fun conversation by just going nuance and not just going full slappy. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's like we can have these conversations without people being angry, without people being called casuals, stuff like this. You know, there used to be a guy named Artur. A lot of people know him. He tried to tell me that Goff had the strongest arm in the league. I was like, okay, bruh, whatever. I don't know what kind of crack you smoking, but you need to put the pipe down. Stay off the weed. You know, I can see the Browns pulling it off against the Bears. Garrett will rattle the nail painter. That's not really a bad take. Um, he's just been so difficult to get on the ground this year, bro. Like it's annoying to watch. I'm like, sack him on the ground. This dude done scrambled out the pocket, out of the sack, and then thrown a 40-yard bomb. Lord have mercy. Right? That's what it's been all year. Raymond and Glasgow. I think we cut Glasgow before we cut Raymond. The deep analytics guy. Mailbag. What upset do you see happening in the next 3 weeks? The Bears could lose to the Browns. Uh, let's see what else could happen. Yeah, I think the Bears could lose to the Browns. The Lions could possibly lose to the Rams, but that wouldn't be an upset. That would be an upset to the Lions fans because they're currently favored. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. I think Bears Browns Miles Garrett is a really good one. And Shador was balling. So, I mean, it was against the Titans. So, we'll have to see. I see both the Packers and Bears losing next week. Oh, that would be awesome. If both of them lost and we won. Brown scoring points with defense is scary. Jordan Love, my high, forget it. See, I don't think that's uh classified as an upset because all right, let's see. Um yeah, it wouldn't be a an upset because the Broncos are 10, 11 win team, 10 win team. They're second, I think, in the AFC standings altogether. So nah, that wouldn't be an upset. Mailbag, Rams lose to the Lions. I like that. That's not a question. That's a statement. If Caleb gets rattled like last week, happy feet, and who knows with Sanders and no pass rush. Let's see. I mean, they got Montez Sweat. The Bears don't have pass rush. I meant, yeah. That's it. They got Montez Sweat. All right, Broncos are gonna bring the Cheeseheads down to earth. Yeah, I don't see the Packers winning that game. So that's definitely like the Broncos winning and the Browns winning, and then us winning. That would be very, very helpful. So let's hope that happens. All right, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go get my 3 Red Bulls for $10. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out, stopping by for a drinking conversation. We'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, we'll talk about some of the Rams defense tomorrow. We got to get into that. Um, I just wanted to do this comparison thing, man, because we just you know, let's leave Barry and Calvin out of this. Let's just leave them. They got their statues, they got their busts. Barry Sanders got his statue at Ford Field. Um, you know, Calvin Johnson got his weed. You know, so let's just leave them out of it, man. And let's see, bro. I'm out. All right, y'all. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic, and we are out. Peace.